Brendan, how long is it now since you lived in a camp?
It's at least we were one of the last four families that were actually in the camp to come out, and that actually must be 19 years or 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Well, what's your memories of the camp?
Well, basically, the memories of the camp are sad and happy. I remember John McBurdy.
Funny enough, you mentioned John. John's here tonight.
I remember John McBurdy coming from my father, and him and my father went into a hut at the top of the camp. I mean, my father couldn't get in, so God mercy on him. He was what you call a squatter, and he had no other place to go, and he went in there, and then we were practically put out of the top hut in Springtown, and we went down to live with a family called Harkins, which we lived in the room, and there was about 9 of us in the room, and the conditions were actually terrible.
Well, can you remember the conditions, Brendan? Because I can recollect now that you were just very young, about 8, 9 or 10 years of age at that particular time. Now, can you remember what really the conditions were like at that time?
I remember my mother putting us to bed, and she used to always put a plastic cover on top of the bed. Now, we didn't understand what it was. It was actually, there were so many of us in the one room, there was actually condensation, they were calling it, but it meant the plastic cover sheet was ringing in the morning.
Well, Brendan, I'm glad you mentioned that, because today now, the present day, young people now are getting houses now, in some cases before they're married, but basically they're getting houses within 12 months of marriage. Now, in the days of the camp, in fact, I would have to say that it was through the camp that the housing conditions here at the present day